Listen, I had Saints Row years ago. I was a little boy when I bought Saints Row for the first time, and I thought that game was so much fun. Saints Row, in my opinion, was not directly, somewhat indirectly, was some decent competition for GTA, Rockstar, and but they kind of was set in their own lane, and they had great potential. GTA and Saints Row were similar in the sense of open world sandbox style gaming, where you, the main character, can travel through the city, do missions, buy weapons, buy property, sometimes buy cars, clothing, and stuff like that, and interact in different ways throughout the city. Saints Row kind of did these same thing, but they enhanced a lot of different aspects of it that GTA either enhanced in some settings and didn't really in others. San Andreas was one of the most fun GTAs to play. GTA 3 was the most innovative at that time, coming from GTAs being two-dimensional and top-down view. The step that they had made with that one, that was the most innovative. GTA 4 was probably the most impressive physics-wise in some aspects, and in other aspects not so much. GTA 5 was the most ambitious so far as content and features, and different modes and interacting online. GTA 4 tried the online and it did okay, but it wasn't nearly as imperative as it is today with GTA 5. It didn't bring in nearly as much money as GTA 5 did with the online. There were a lot of different things that GTA did, and then there were some things that they just didn't. Even with as much as they did in 5, it was some things that they just simply didn't do that Saints Row did. Saints Row had the potential, in my honest opinion, to top GTA, but they came out of the gate really, really strong, and that's what kind of did it. Saints Row came and hit the scene and was more of a grittier, grimier variation of GTA, or it was a grittier, grimier, open world sandbox style, street, sort of a style game. You were a part of this gang called the Saints. There were other gangs out there that were, I think, the Saudis. They had the what was it? The Deckers. They had like this Japanese gang. They had the Ronins. They had all these different, these groups. I think it was the Wolves was one, something like that. It was like a red and black gang. All these different gangs, different nationalities. Each gang had their thing, their own sort of inclinations of what they were really good at. One gang was just really brute strength type of a gang. Tribal tattoos everywhere, really loud music. There's a really aggressive style of play. Another one was real tech savvy, and they use like these electrical skates or something like that, like these really tech savvy sort of skates and swords, and they had a lot of shock weapons and stuff like that. That was another group that each group had their own sort of inclinations. I thought that was brilliant. The missions seemed like they were really full, dense, crazy missions. The attitudes and the personalities and the voice acting was crazy. Johnny Gat was one of the biggest characters so far as who you remember. Johnny Gat was one of those really memorable, charismatic characters that just had a good way of drawing everybody into him. You just wanted to see him on screen. You wanted to hear the antics. You wanted to because he was just larger than life character. Saints Row really had the potential. I think they did a little too much too soon. Saints Row hit. Saints Saints Row 2 hit, and Saints Row 2 was a little bit more of the same with Saints Row 1, except it was a few more enhancements. I think they really went a little further out with customization, and that was something that GTA really didn't have. GTA had the ability to buy clothes and change your outfit and things like that in San Andreas, but it was limited. They had it to where each store had a certain amount of outfits in the store. You weren't really able to customize anything. It took forever to even see what the clothing item would look like. You would have to go into like this closet, select whatever option you want, click that option, and he would come out of that closet, come out, and he would do a little animation, and then you didn't want that, so he would go back into the closet, and then the menu will pop up again, and it was just real painstakingly slow. With Saints Row, you put it on, boom, the outfit is on. And then you can customize the outfit right then and there with all possibilities of colors, different selections of different logo types. Like, so say for instance you bought a jacket that had the Saints Row logo on the back, you can change that logo. I think you can change it to different things, but you can change that Saints Row logo, you can resize it, turn it, rotate it, change the color of it, change the color of the coat. And that was dope to me. It was simple, but that was so dope to me. Games like stuff like that brings me back to, I like being able to customize, make things your own, make things a little bit more you. I love that. And they gave that to every clothing item you bought. You had that option to be able to change the color and stuff like that, or the style of it. So instead of buying a hoodie on GTA that's a hoodie up and then buying another one that's a hoodie down, you know, you can just do all that customization right then and there. Guns. So GTA always had its weapons, but I think GTA thrived and did so well because of how down to earth it was. It was a game that felt believable until 5. When 5 was first released, of course it still felt believable still, but as they kept dropping DLCs in the online universe, it just got wacky. But GTA originally, it just felt down to earth. It felt like you were a criminal and you were trying to work your way up this empire and try to build your brand or build yourself. Sometimes it just felt like you were just simply just trying to survive, and you weren't necessarily like really money hungry. All the GTA installments weren't really heavy when it came to money like that. You earned money, but in most instances, some of the GTAs really didn't thrive that much on cash. GTA 3, I know that you were able to earn money in that one, and I'm guessing you were able to buy weapons. But other than that, you weren't really able to buy anything. I don't think you could buy any property. I don't think you were able to buy cars at that time. You were stealing cars. GTA San Andreas hit, and you were stealing cars and customizing cars. They finally added car customization to that one because of the West Coast and how that was more of a culture there. And so they added that aspect to it. They added the clothing buying aspect. They added, you know, you were able to buy jewelry, I believe. And so all those things were cool, you know what I mean? And they made cash become a little bit more relevant in that game. But, you know, with the exploit of a cheat code, I want to say it was R1, R2, L1, L2, left down, right up, left down, right up. That was the code that gave you health, full health, a shield, that gave you all weapons, ammunition, and it gave you $250,000 cash, which you don't need that much. You don't need that much at all. Now, I'll take that back. You probably would, because saving cars was a nightmare. GTA 5 got that right. with putting a car in your garage, and if it got blown up or lost, it would just reappear in the garage later on. A little unrealistic, but very convenient when you didn't spent a lot of money, stuff like that. So they would chuck it up to insurance, and it was something else that they added. They chucked it up to GPS tracker. So if you went too far away from your vehicle, they would have an icon pop up where it shows where it actually is. And if something happened to that vehicle where it was destroyed, lost, or somebody stole it or something like that, it would simply be able, you can call up an insurance company and they would bring the vehicle back. So that aspect help bring it back and make it a little more interesting, realistic, and convenient at the same time. So GTA 5 did get that right. But San Andreas, if you fully customize the car and you were just somewhere at the wrong time, and people will pull you out of your car. Like, people really didn't do that in GTA 5, of pulling you out of your car or anything like that. But people did that in San Andreas. You sit and post it, somebody just pull you out of your car and just take your car. Like, that was a real thing. And so GTA did right with those aspects. But Saints Row, there was a lot of things that they did that I really enjoyed. I love the freshness and just like the mood that it would bring. It had a lot of dope music, a lot of dope scenes. It had a menu music and stuff like that, and it just kind of made the game seem a bit more, I don't know, purposeful. It made it just seem like had a lot more character, a lot more just energy. It just brought a nice energy to that game. What else did they do? Of course, you were able to have, gang members with you. GTA 3, 4 didn't implement that, but 5, GTA 3 or 4 didn't implement it, but GTA San Andreas did. GTA 5, they implemented it, but more so in online, and that doesn't count. You want gang members, you want people in your group that you can tell them, hey, go do this, and they'll go and do it. And they won't question you. They're not gonna, they just gonna get it done. And that's what you want. And online, you're not gonna get that. You're gonna get some 8-year-old, 7-year-old who's, don't have any business playing GTA. And you give them an order, tell them to be at this spot or post in this position or take this vantage point, and no one's going to do anything that you tell them. Trying to find adults that don't have short-term memory loss is going to be difficult. What I mean by that, you get some guys that'll do the mission with you, and immediately when the mission is done, they're going to find you and give you a little present. Every time you do a heist with the wrong adult, you will find yourself like, oh man, I'm about to get 50K for this mission. This was easy. Fleeca job? What was it, the Fleeca or Fleeca bank job? Oh man, this is easy. Few little setups and quick little 75, 50 grand. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, you will get the money, but I think if they shoot you and you got that money on you, that you could possibly drop a decent amount of it. I don't know if it's all of it, but I remember there was a point in time where if you got killed with money on you, you dropped a decent amount of it. And it's just stupid. So having a gang with you that was AI, that made it a little bit more easier to do. And they were bots. Like, I'm talking about, you pull up and they hop out instantly. If they smell a gang member, they busting. Like, it was nothing for them. And I liked how responsive they were. And I thought that was a dope aspect. And they were the same way in GTA San Andreas. You would aim your gun at somebody and I think you would press up and they would join your crew. as you earned more respect throughout the game, you were able to add in more gang members. And I forgot how many you could have, but I want to say it was like 6. I remember there being like 2 cars following behind me one time, because the car I had was like a 2-seater. It was a few guys in one car, and they needed a couple more seats, and they ended up getting another car. So I want to say you was possibly able to have like 6 or 8, but I could be off. But it was fun, man, and they were decent. You know, they health wise they were trash, and just the mechanics and how everything worked, and just the shooting animations. You know, it was laughable, but there was a gang, and you was able to roll with them, and they would shoot at, you know, opposing gang members if you pulled up by one. You know, it worked. I don't know if they were able to go with you on missions. I don't remember that part. They probably were. But Saints Row did the same thing, but theirs were just, they were quick, they were accurate, they knew how to cause some chaos. They could fight, they could withstand a good gunfight. It was cool, and then you could revive. Now I don't know if you were able to revive gang members on GTA San Andreas. I think you may have been, but I'm not sure. But on there, I know that you can revive your gang members, and they could take a beating. You know what I mean? They had an upgrading system that was like really cool, and it was pretty dope. It was certain upgrades that would give you enhancements, like physical enhancements. Certain upgrades that would give your gang members enhancements. You can upgrade weapons, which I thought was dope. I thought it was dope. GTA 5 finally got on that, but I don't remember GTA 4, San Andreas, or anybody else ever implementing that. GTA 5 got on it, but it wasn't as extensive as Saints Row, and it was expensive, you know, for the most part. I think it was really costly, or it was something weird that you would have to do just to get the upgrade. You'd have to kill like 100, you know, players online or something like that in order to unlock a color for the gun. It was just ridiculous. Saints Row had it to where when you did missions, you earn respect, and your amount of respect and stuff like that would earn you upgrades and unlocks and stuff like that. The guns upgrades, you know, were substantial. Each upgrade felt like an upgrade, you know, but you could upgrade a weapon in GTA and it won't feel like anything even happened. You know, you adding grips and all this stuff, and muzzles and flashlights, and it's just like, this gun is the same. It's literally the same. Just to unlock certain colors sometimes used to cost you so much money. But yeah, you go on Saints Row and you could get you the dual pistols. I thought that was dope. San Andreas had that, and I think they did away with the dual pistols in the last GTA, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. You were able to put like a grenade launcher on I think on one of the weapons. I think you were able to have like possibly like exploding rounds or incendiary rounds, stuff like that. It was just all these different aspects you were able to add to your weapons to actually upgrade them. Instead of you actually using a code or a cheat for like unlimited ammo, if you earned enough respect, you could unlock you know, endless clips and unlimited ammo for certain weapons. All of that was cool. Like, it was dope, man. I think what hurt them was the fact that they did so much so quickly. I love them for it. I love what they did. I love how they did that, and how much I love with that game and how much fun I had playing it. That was a game that you were able to get back to just that riding around, causing destruction alone, you know, just solo, and just straight up having a good time. Like, That was one of the games that brought that back, in my opinion. GTA 5, you still had that, but no one really wanted to play as an old middle-aged guy. No one really, playing as Franklin was cool, but I don't know, man. Just like nobody wanted to play as none of these guys. I didn't want to play as Trevor. I didn't want to. Franklin was alright, but I didn't want to play as Franklin. I didn't want to play as a middle-aged Michael either. And so, more than likely, you would want to play online, where you could create your own character, but your character didn't talk, didn't have any personality, just literally just there, wearing clothes and doing missions. And the customization and the freedom that you had, it was a lot of freedom, but the customization wasn't really there. And when it was expensive. Everything was cash is king on GTA 5. Cash was absolutely king. They made cash be extremely important. And like I said, just looking back at yesteryear at some of the previous installments of GTA, cash was there. It had some importance, but they made cash everything in this one, which I liked. I liked that they made cash everything, because you would get bored quickly if everything was easily accessible and obtainable. I think what hurt Saints Row was a few things. What hurt them was, like I said, I think they gave us too much too soon. And I don't know if there was any way around that. Because that's what made them popular, was everything that they had gave. And that's what made it popular, that's what made it fun, that's what made it sort of a gravitational title to want to play, because you knew what you were getting. You knew you were getting this over the top, right in your face, down your throat, like they would just shove this action just down. I think that's what made it popular, because you knew what you were getting. You were getting this non-stop action in your face, attitude heavy, saturated, spunky, gritty, grimy style game. And it was just like, yes. Then the game had the nerve to have like some style, some flair to it, some dope animation, some dope combat, some amusing combat. It was just, the game knew what it was doing. It knew how to bring it. But I think that in the same sense, it hurt it, because you got majority of that in the first installment of Saints Row. Saints Row is on its 5th or 6th installment. And from what I'm hearing, no one's really caring. No one really likes it. But you low-key got majority of that in the first installment of Saints Row. So now you gotta come out with Saints Row 2. So what ends up happening is you try to top what you just did. They already over the top. So now they gotta figure out a way to go even more so over the top. Like, how can we push that boundary even more? This is the second one. So we gotta go further. And it just got out of hand. You know what I mean? That was a mission where I was literally free falling, and then I drop kicked myself into a plane and flew through the plane, grabbed somebody's gun, shot some guys, grabbed the parachute, went out the back of the plane, continued to free fall while shooting at rival gang members in the air, got to one of my comrades, grabbed them, released the parachute. This is all while free falling in the air. And this was one of the first missions. So I think Saints Row began to go from oh man, that's crazy. You know, like the stuff that you were doing that was happening to. Oh, okay. All right. Y'all getting a little ridiculous. I think it was one of the games that was very well welcome, and then shortly right after wore out its welcome. I hate that that happened. Um, but it was the sense of what made it to me, what made it successful was a sense of it was sort of grounded, realistic, believable, but a little over the top. And that is what helped it become popular and it become something that people love to play, especially me. But what happened was it wasn't as grounded anymore. It was now like up here and it was still over the top. So now we're just out there. That was an installment called Gat Out of Hell, where you had to go to hell and break Gat out of hell. And it was just, I had no interest in that. I never played it, never saw it. The Saints Row 4, never touched it. Never even played it, never powered it up, never bought it. I had zero interest. I played 1, 2, and 3, and 3 was pushing it. I think that's when they were getting close to like trying to do like the alien stuff. It was over with at that point. You started off at like these presidents or CEOs, and then something happened where the company was being challenged or a rival, and you had to kind of rebuild things again. But the Saints had gotten lazy and complacent. They had their own rocks, they had their own energy drinks, and it was just a lot. You had clowns and mascots running around. You had these guys that were like, I don't know if it was a growth hormone or a science experiment. You had these big dudes that was like walking down the street and like superhuman strength punch you and you literally fall down the street and they'll throw you across the map dang near. It was just a lot, yo. It just became super wacky and you no longer recognized where you were and what you were playing. And that's where it dropped the ball. It quickly left the believable aspects, and they could have built on some of that. I think them getting to like the wacky stage, they probably could have honestly kept with that, but not as the main game. Maybe a DLC. Maybe saying, okay, we'll release this, and then if you guys want like apocalyptic clowns and all this stuff, you know, this will be a DLC that we release, and you guys could have fun in that arena, knock yourselves out. I feel like they could have built a little bit more on, it don't have to be boring, realistic, but just built on something that was a bit more grounded and somewhat believable. GTA 5 and all the GTA installments did as well as they did because everything that happened, even if it sometimes was a little ridiculous, seemed like, okay, I could honestly see this possibly happening. Even though flying a toy airplane around the city to detonate bombs or whatever we were doing, or flying through these little obstacles, you know, seemed a little ridiculous. And some of the missions were being on top of a plane, on top of a train and GTA, and shooting at these gang members on the side of the train, trying to stop you and all that. Throwing these crates off of a train, trying to slow down gang members. And, you know, some of the missions did seem a little far-fetched, but they weren't that far-fetched. I was never in the air, free falling, drop kicking through airplane windows, flying through the airplane, grabbing guns from people who were shooting at me. And it was just like, it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But that was a part of its charm. I think it did a lot of things right, and the same exact things that it did right is what hurt it. I love the fact that you were able to customize your home. You were able to like kind of make it your own and kind of, you know, deck it out a little bit. I love the fact that it was a place where you was able to have like a headquarters where just the gang members were there. So all you had to do was just kind of go around there and just, you know, recruit right from the living room, right from upstairs, or in the loft area, wherever you were at. They had a place where you had your own helipad. GTA didn't introduce that until 5, and you had to own a corporate building in order to have it. The aspect of robbing the store back then was way more realistic how they did it. GTA didn't really get that squared away or fleshed out real good until 5. I want to say you would go in, you would hold up the store owner, they would put their hands up, they would go to the register and actually fill the register up. They would go to the register and actually fill up the bag from the register and hand you the bag. And for the most part, they will be chill, but sometimes they'll call the police. Sometimes they'll pull out a gun and shoot at you before, if you turn your back. GTA finally had gotten that together. That was pretty cool. But with Saints Row, you would go in and hold up the store owner. They would have like a really big reaction to you holding a gun up to them. So you would get behind them and follow them to the safe room. And they had a safe room, and they would actually unlock the safe, and it'll be a substantial amount of money. You know, I think you were able to clear like maybe a few thousand, you know, with some of those safes. On GTA, I know it will be hit and miss. You get like 200, sometimes less than that. You know, 600 here, maybe 8. I like the fact that Saints Row allowed your garage to just be sort of a inventory list. So instead of you, of course you would want to see your cars parked, but for the sake of garage space and money and all that stuff, you would just go in your garage and a list will pop up of whatever vehicle. You would pick that vehicle, the vehicle will pop up, and you would go ahead and drive, and then you would already place you in the vehicle. So as soon as you pick it, boom, you in the vehicle and your garage door is opening and you're ready to go ahead out into the city. I thought that was cool. I thought that was dope, actually. Really smart idea so far as space, utilization, so far as rendering. I think you would have to render, your gang would have to render a lot less information versus opening a garage door and all those cars have to be loaded and loaded the same way every time, have to be loaded in the order in which you purchased them, have to remember all the upgrades that you put on them, remember the paint job, remember the interior upgrades, all that, all at once. And that's a lot of information. So having it render just an inventory list and it can just recall what you're actually picking, I thought that was pretty smart. Hopefully maybe in the future they could sit down, and what I would like for them to do is to just redo the Saints Row series altogether. Start over, Saints Row 1, and don't remaster it, just redo it. You can keep some of the same characters. You can definitely keep Johnny Gat. That's going to be everybody's like selling point. You can keep that character. Change the physics, change the combat system, change your weapon system. I feel like the game was great. Keep that grimy and gritty aspect to it, because to believe it or not, people will still love that. Just a game that is just street and it isn't wacky and went out of space yet. Because GTA 5 is definitely there. You got flying cars, flying motorcycles. What's happening? So a game that's a bit more just like grimy and straight up with this as far as the free roam open sandbox world, we could use that. We could use that. A game that allows true customization. A game that allows a lot more character from your character. Giving your character a little bit more of an attitude, a little bit more of a personality. That's something that would be excellent. And that's my overall rant on the things that Saints Row did well, didn't do well, its shortcomings in comparison to the unofficial competition that they had in Rockstar Games GTA. I enjoy sitting here chatting with you guys. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, that notification bell. Stay up to date on our content whenever we upload. Hit that like button as well. And I will catch you guys soon. Peace.